There's a line forming of national people who want you to know that they're not sold on Pete Golding. And not one of them has watched him coach a single September football game yet. Everydayers, let's go through the line on this. Greg McElroy this week has Ole Miss 11th in his poll. Now, what we're going to talk about is all relative because 11th in his poll, that's in the nation, not the conference. So that needs to be kept in perspective a little bit. But he said that I don't know that 11-1 or 10-2 is likely for this Ole Miss team. And 9-3 feels more realistic with some of the teams that they have to face. That's kind of the ceiling, and he stated that politely. Joel Klatt on Monday put Ole Miss 16th nationally, the start of the next tier or something like that, and then the closer. With replacing Kiffin and as the tough schedule, Ole Miss is at the bottom of this tier, not the middle, the bottom, he said. Okay, whatever. 16th is very, very low, but you would expect that from somebody that works at Fox. Roman Harper does not work at Fox. In July at SEC Media Days, to Chase Daniels said, they're not winning the national championship. They're Ole Miss. You'll learn, you'll come around. Read that again, by the way. The argument is not the roster. The argument is not necessarily the coach. The argument is the name on the front of the jersey. That's what you're going to go to there? Okay, whatever. And Paul Feinbaum on the Crane and Cone thing. He got handed the proposition. Golding picks up the mantle where Lane Kiffin left off, buy or sell, and he said sell. And everydayers, notice what happened there. The take was buried inside the question. Picks up the mantle, cast this man as a caretaker before even one snap of football gets played. He wrote the premise, then he graded it. And now here's the honest counterweight, okay? Because I always try to give you one of those and be fair and look at that if you can. They're not necessarily crazy because Pete has never coached a full season as a head coach. Not one. And the real unknown, and it is fair to say it out loud, the schedule is going to be exactly as hard as we think it is. Then they have that to go off of as well. I do not agree with where they land, but I understand how somebody gets there, honestly. But here is what not one person in that line noticed. The hardest guy on Pete Golding this week was kind of Pete Golding. So he said, this, the same week that McElroy is capping him at 9-3, Golding walks to a podium in Oxford with a top 10 roster and says, we still need more urgency. We still need more attention to detail. Experience doesn't fix that, at least more of it. And then he even went a little further. We're definitely not where we need to be right now. We have a lot of work to do. That needs to pick up a little bit. That's a man with a top 10 team, a returning quarterback, a first-team All-American running back, and a Power 4, and 4 Power 4 starters he imported into his defense, telling you in the second week of camp that this football team still has work to do. And here's the one that told me most. He went back to 2023. He said, a couple of years ago in 2023, guys were taking pictures of a new stadium. It was like, what are we doing? And then, and then they get blown out by Georgia. Just because you've been in those environments doesn't mean you know how to be prepared for those environments. You still have to do the work. Everydayers, that is not a man selling you anything. That is a defensive coordinator who got the chair and did not change. And I will take the coach that says that over the coach that spends August telling their fan base how special they are. Because here's the part I keep coming back to. He held this roster together through the 3 worst months in the history of this athletic department. He brought in a top 15 recruiting class for 2027. He took a football team to the playoff whose head coach had already left for a rival. Every benchmark that has been put in front of this man, he has cleared. So, and now here is the honest counterweight to that. There is a version of this where the podium self-criticism means absolutely nothing. Every coach in America says camp isn't good enough in week 2. It's the most common sentence in all of the sports. So I'm not handing him a trophy for saying it. The only thing that makes doubters go away is winning football games, and that is the whole list. So let's set the bar for me tonight, okay, everydayers? What does Pete Golding have to do in year one to end this conversation? Comment 10 if you think it takes 10 wins and nothing else. Comment 9 if it's 9 and a playoff berth does it. And if your answer is that nothing short of a national title shuts these people up, comment neither, and I will read those too. So you're usually ahead of the national media on stuff like this. That's the reason I asked the question. So take care, and we will see you later. Hotty toddy.